Instagram facing this way. We have an infant. We get to do this, an infant in the studio. So we get to hand off the 8-month-old future Grand Slam winner, right, G? And podcaster, yes. Future Grand Slam winner and podcaster, exactly. All right, so we minimize that. Bobby's in. Oh, good, Bobby, you know. Bobby.
Which way do you want me?
Yeah, you gotta go back the other way. Yep. Stay right there. There we go.
My computer's not working. I can't get on the Comcast.
That's all right. That's down. You're lucky on this one, Bobby. You're just the good looks in this one. So you just get to sit there and Joey and exactly. Exactly. All right, there and there. All right. So we are live on the YouTube. I will unmute and switch us over live on Facebook. And like I said, Carson, we're pretty somewhere in between low key and unprofessional here. So it's a nice relaxed environment that we hope to never actually reach unprofessional. So
sounds good.
We're good. All right. So I will switch out and hand you over to my wife. Give me 1 second. You guys can chat. Everybody, future Grand Slam champion and podcaster. All right. Let me know if you need anything.
I'm in.
Tag in. Substitution.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I should have put the chair.
We need you to sit on a phone book.
Yes.
Oh, I know. Here we go. Watch this. This is what we have for Bud Collins' history of tennis. Here we go. We got Bud Collins' history of tennis here, right? All right. Here's what this is good for.
Oops! Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, much better, right?
How's that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lower this.
Usually I don't get to sit here. My office requires a big TV as a screen monitor, a camera, and a yoga mat.
Exactly.
So it's a different setup. Hello, Bobby. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Carson, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So we will start, like my husband was saying, we want to hear about you, your story, where all this tennis came from, when did you start it? So take your time, indulge us with your story. That's what we want to hear today, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
You have to water next to that. Good idea too. All right. So Carson, welcome to the Atlanta Tennis Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you very much meeting us at the Atlanta Open Media Day the other day. That was awesome to get to see you there. So everybody is getting to know you for your accomplishments, latest accomplishments. Can you tell us a little bit of that as we start, and then we go back into how you got there?
Yeah, so this last year I was a sophomore at University of North Carolina. I played typically line 3 singles for them and kind of everywhere around the doubles lineup, usually round 2. And this year we won the national championship as a team. I had the pleasure of clinching. And then for the individual tournament, my partner Fiona Crawley and I won the doubles tournament. So we have a wild card to go play in New York in the US Open at the end of August, which has been the craziest whirlwind ever. And I still can't believe it, but that's where I'm at now. So
that is wonderful. And we will get to that. But first, like I said, please indulge us. Tell us where, when, and how your tennis journey began.
Yeah, so it's Grant Stafford. He is my coach now and has been since I started when I was little. And I would probably not have started tennis unless because he moved in. So when I was 4, we've been in this house since I was a baby. And when I was 4, he moved across the street. So we're neighbors. And neither of my parents really played tennis. And
that was another question. Sorry to interrupt. That was another question because I'm always interested. Are you coming from your parents were tennis players or not? So thank you.
Yeah, no, neither of them really played tennis, just recreationally growing up. We were a big basketball family. And so basketball was probably always in the cards for me. But Grant moved in across the street and told my parents, if your kids are ever bored, if you ever want to get some energy out of them, come to our academy and I can give them lessons and they can start. And if they like it, they can keep going. And so my older brother and sister started that, and they started drills. And then I would always go to those and watch my sister and my brother. And then I started when I was old enough. And then it just kind of took off from there. Neither of my siblings ended up taking it as seriously as I ended up. But I started doing after school drills, and then I was loving it. I did it probably 3, 4, maybe sometimes 5 days a week. And then it just kind of took off from there until
Wow,
homeschooling and all that. Yeah.
that is awesome. So your siblings are older or younger?
They're older. My sister is about 5 years older than me, and my brother is almost 3 years older than me.
Yeah, the younger one in the group and the one that got, you will see that a lot.
Yeah.
Say that with the kids with, with siblings, either the first one or the last one that
Yeah.
just covers certain particular things. That's awesome. So you start homeschooling as well at the age of 10?
Uh, 5th grade. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how old I was, but yeah, 5th grade is when I started.
Now, it was your idea or was a combination of your parents saying, you know what, you need to focus more on tennis? How was that experience?
It was kind of a combination. I think I wanted to because I saw other people my age in our academy doing it. And Grant, as a coach, was like, I think you would really excel if you did this, if you really want to be good. And my parents, neither of them pushed super hard for anything sports wise. They always wanted to come from us. So it was just kind of a discussion. And so they wanted me to try it before I went to middle school to at least kind of have a little bridge and kind of get into a routine myself. And my mom was always like, I don't want to be the one teaching you, so you got to be kind of self-sufficient, because I mean, both my parents work. So they wanted me to do it start in 5th grade, and then I ended up doing it all throughout the rest of school just for travel purposes. And I really started to get into it and get a lot more serious about my tennis. And both my parents were super supportive, so we were traveling places all over the US and
Wow.
training 4 hours, 5 hours a day. So
Do you think that you would ever had the opportunity to actually focus on tennis if without being homeschooled? Like you
I
got-
I think I would have, but I do think it definitely helped me in a sense. I'm a person that probably needed that extra time on the court. I know a lot of people, even a lot of people on my team now, didn't have to homeschool and are playing at the same level as I am. So I think it's kind of different for everyone, but I think I was definitely one of those people where, those extra hours on the court really helped me in taking the time off and having the ability to do my school, get that done, and then go on the tennis court. And just, I don't think I necessarily needed the school aspect. And my parents always said, like, as long as you're getting your academics done, you can play as much tennis as you want. So
That is awesome. I think I have to have a podcast interview with your parents as well, because that's an awesome idea and great encouragement for other parents as well to go for it and embrace the homeschool experience and give the children opportunity to explore their likes and their passions, because we need a little more of that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So you were part of the not the golden retrievers you said, but part of the ball kids at Lifetime.
Yes. So
You were doing that.
yeah, I only did it a few times. I think I just did it 2 years back to back, maybe just one, but it was for the Australian Open Wildcard Challenge. They used to do it a super, super long time ago. And I was training at Lifetime at the time. So I think Miss Patricia asked if Grant or our program had any extra kids that wanted to participate. And I mean, I was there all day, every day. So of course I was gonna join in. So I got to see like so many big names, like at the time, young American women players like Grace Min, Shelby Rogers, and just being able to see them up close was super, super cool, and definitely had me put that kind of pro tennis on the map for me, and was a really big, cool inspiration and motivation for me. So it was just cool to see that like super up close.
I'm sure that has to be an experience I was a ballerina. And I would say a ballerina is always a ballerina, right? But in my early years, seeing people on stage and being able to see them afterwards, it was, oh my goodness, they were just, I want to be that. So
Yeah.
how old were you when finally you decide, you know what, I can make a career out of this? It's not just a passion that you're following, it's not just something that you're practicing very hard towards, but when finally clicking?
I think I always kind of had that on my mind, and some coaches had put it in my mind, like, you have a lot of potential. And I think nearing the end of middle school, around there, I had high hopes of my junior career. And always just trying to look to go pro. Maybe there was like a set ranking that like if I was pro and I was at this ranking, then maybe I would decide not to go to school. But I think college was always on the radar, and obviously I'm sure my parents wanted me to go. But I think probably around the end of middle school, going into high school, trying to figure out if I did want to go back to half day or high school and maybe do a half day instead of being fully online, and kind of figuring that out because I also played sorry, I also played basketball in high school, so we were trying to balance that and figure that out. So, and how I wanted to go about it. And so there are a lot of conversations, but I think around there I kind of knew that I could do something with it, and was just kind of putting my head down and working super hard around that time, playing a ton of tournaments.
That is a lot of commitment for a young person. Yes,
Mhm.
I praise you for it because, as a parent, we want our kids to get to develop their passions and go for it. And it's hard to know how to guide them through that. So for you and your parents to come together and find that what you want to do and support you towards, and then you realize, you know what, I can be a pro, and how about this, how about that, and see all the ways we can do it. That's fantastic. Well, so from there, how you decide to go to UNC, how the journey went.
Yeah, so it was definitely a new process and a stressful one. And luckily, I had a couple people to look up to that were already in college or had been through the process at some point in their life. So they just gave me some pointers and making sure I wasn't focusing too much, putting too much pressure on myself, just kind of feeling it out and going at my own pace. But ultimately, there were a ton of conversations. I was just kind of keeping my options open. I talked to a lot of coaches, and I didn't expect to end up at UNC. And I honestly I didn't know how much of a legacy UNC already had. And so I was just kind of going on what my gut felt and not less on what people were saying about certain programs or just how I felt about certain programs. So I just kept definitely keeping my options open. And then the coaches at UNC really just liked my game and liked all the potential that they saw in it. And it eventually came down to UGA or UNC, which was tough because UGA is like the home school. Everyone in Atlanta knows UGA. It's always UGA tennis. And both my siblings at the time were there. So it was definitely a tough decision, but it was probably one of the more stressful moments, probably stretch of like 9 months in my life, but it was definitely, I'm very blessed to have had like the looks and just the amount of attention from coaches that I've had, because I think although it's stressful, like I know it's not like that for everyone, and it was just a super cool opportunity to talk about my game and talk about where I want to go with my tennis and just kind of pick a place where I feel like I would develop and feel at home in the end. So
Of course, it's hard. It's hard at that age just to realize, all right, it's this or that. And what about if I take this and this doesn't work? Or it's
and
very
you're so
uncertain.
young. Yeah.
Exactly. So, well, that's awesome. But you conquered them and you're doing very well. You chose well. Like had taken you there. That's fantastic. So, talking about your journey as a tennis player, what would you say to kids around, in that field, tennis? What would be your suggestion, your advice, your words of wisdom to them if they would like to pursue tennis as a career, or even to go to college and play for college?
Yeah, I think definitely the biggest things that I learned and I realized and had to keep learning is that everyone has their own path. I was always, not always, but I did compare myself to certain people at certain ages. And I was like, oh, like, why can't I be winning this title, or why am I not this ranking? And I think just the biggest thing, and it sounds really cliche, is just to like have fun and stay in the moment and just know that everyone has their own path. Everyone peaks at different times, and to just really just focus on your training, trust the people around you that, are putting in work with you on the court. I just think that's super important because you can kind of lose sight of things, looking at outwards, looking at other people. So I just think making sure you're enjoying it first and foremost. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice I have, because I do see like people, even little girls at my academy, just like not focusing on the right things. And I think just having fun with it and staying in the present moment, knowing everyone has their own path is probably one of the biggest things that I could stress to anyone.
That's right. Especially nowadays with so much social media, so much pressure from in all the spaces. It's like we get it from everywhere, family, social settings, and that is very important. Now, how you feel about now being right there, the one that little kids look up to? Like, for example, Patricia Jensen was saying when she told us about you, oh, she was so excited and said, this girl is unbelievable. And I said, now I'm so excited because now my ball kids, the golden retrievers, are going to be looking up to her, and they can see that they can do it, that all the effort that they're putting now, they're going to be able to get somewhere. It's exciting for us as a parents and as adults that see you guys getting to do some many wonderful things, and to see that you also looking up to you. So how's that feeling? How Carson feels about that?
It's definitely different, because I used to look up to some people, whether from Atlanta or not. And I looked up to so many of the girls that were at my academy that were going to college when I was in maybe middle school. And I just think it's really kind of a cool thing to see that I'm maybe on the other side of that now. And I'm honored that I get to, share hopefully some of the wisdom, and hopefully they take something from what I say. And hopefully what I'm saying means something to them. But
For sure, they're
yeah,
listening and they're watching. So if you can start your journey right now into mentorship, and just by writing down your thoughts, your journey, because I know that's gonna help tremendously to young players. And I can see you very mature for your age. So I appreciate
thank you.
It's wonderful to see that, because you guys are the future, right, Bobby?
Absolutely.
Yes. What about you? Jump in. Do you have any questions?
Well, I want to give her a hard time initially, just because she made that comment about how many years and years ago the Australian Open wildcard. Lifetime's only been open for less than 10 years. So I love youngsters when they start thinking about the past. Years and years ago. All I remember is that year it was a flood. We did the tournament, right? It was, oh my God, it rained the whole time.
Yeah, it was all indoors.
All indoors because it rained. So that was the one. That might have been the last year. That might have been the one that said, okay, we've done this long enough. So my big question is, because I still teach this with my kids, is the Grant Stafford return of serve. Do you still do the step, split, and hit?
Yes, it's exactly that. And no one will ever do it as well as Grant will. And he will never fail to make your serve feel bad if he's returning against you. But yeah, it's always step, split, hit. It's never changed. And
Well, he taught me that years and years ago. I still use it. And I speaking to Sean prior to, I said, Grant, I think at the time had the second highest return of serve efficiency in tennis, behind only a guy named Agassi.
Yeah.
So he was pretty good at it. And it's great. People don't realize that, we have that here in Atlanta. Yeah, we have that here in Atlanta. And Grant was always super humble, always willing to share. And like I said, to this day, I still the step, split, and hit. I got this from Grant Stafford. It works. Go for it. So
yeah.
Good for you there. And also having survived Patricia Jensen, God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Grant's definitely been a huge part of my tennis, obviously. I think he's a little hidden gem in Atlanta, because he doesn't ever want to do any the big press stuff. He doesn't want to be noticed, but he's definitely a hidden gem. And I think, when people know him, they really know him, and they have some funny stories to tell and some good stuff to say about him.
And then my last question, and I won't go into all the UNC alumni, but have you had the opportunity to meet any of the tennis USC alumni dignitaries, especially one that lives here in Atlanta, right?
Yes, I met Caroline Price and Whitney Kay. I actually met Caroline last year. We were eating dinner before one of the night sessions at the Atlanta Open. So it's been cool. There's definitely a cool network of bigger than you'd think network of, Carolina alum in Atlanta. So it's been cool, and they're awesome. All of the alumni are so awesome. So
well, you have that former guy, that big lefty who was also #1 in the world in doubles, who's a UNC alumni. You've met Don Johnson yet?
I have not.
Oh, well, Don lives here. He was #1. Again, you're too young, but it wasn't that long ago that Don was #1 in the world in doubles, and he's a UNC grad. He played with a buddy of mine, Andre Janasek, was there at the same time. So
Good to
yes,
know.
quite luminaries in the UNC history of family. Of course, then there's that Jordan guy, but we won't get into that. He didn't graduate, so he didn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, great success, and just knock him out the U.S. Open. Congratulations on the NCAAs.
Thank you so much.
That's
I'm
right.
done, Gio. You can go now. I'm going to stand here and just listen again.
Yes, Cecilia, I know it's hard for you to do, Bobby. But if you have another question, don't hesitate.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I wore my bright shirt just so I'd be noticed.
Look at you. You're always noticed. You're always noticed. But I was going to ask about, yes, so we did all the past. Now, how you program, that is from and it's not in the script, by the way. And how you training? I'm a fitness instructor. I'm a Pilates yoga instructor, and I'm big of the off-court workout. And this is a question that came out of my mind right now. So how you manage on-court workout with your off-court workouts?
Yeah, so right now, actually, I think, as you know, I'm recovering from a little procedure I had, so I'm trying to get back into that. So, but I love doing Pilates, so I'm doing that twice a week, probably for them. Yeah, I love Pilates. My mom got me into it. So, and it definitely helps. I mean, working like the small muscles, and I think it creates like good balance in my body. So I'm doing that. And then I will be running, because I need to get back into shape. So a lot of like, sprints, more like pyramid runs and tempo runs, things like that. And, do those a couple times a week. And then, getting back into lifting, just following the lifts that our trainer at UNC sent home with us for the summer, and doing those probably 3 times a week around there. And then I'm usually training a couple hours a day, sometimes twice, for a little bit in the afternoon, but for the most part in the morning, to beat the heat, and just working on some specifics and hitting with our group. So
Awesome. Well, I'm sure you can. How many hours a day do you train?
I'd say around 2 to 3 nowadays. It definitely was higher when I was a little kid, with so much energy and could go on the court for hours and hours. But I'd say 2 to 3, sometimes 4. It just kind of depends on the day and what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling. So
Awesome. You are very wise, because the usual is, with the youth comes that extra energy that just go and do it, and then you're all sore muscles and you cannot move well. And when you create that balance, that harmony between the off court and the on court and the rest that you guys need, because you're still developing, you still need to, and please stay away from injuries. All right, keep up your Pilates, and if you need any help in those regards, I am at your service.
thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you so
Tell
much.
mommy that my cheering for her. That's awesome that she got you Pilates, and you were welcoming that into your training, because there's a lot of athletes that they go to Pilates or yoga actually when they are injured. When they are suffering with injuries or they're recovering is when but if you do that before then, you're going to prevent those injuries. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Now, where are you going from now? So how long are you going to be here back at home until you go to the US Open? How that works?
I should be home for the most part. I may be playing one tournament with Fiona out up in Evansville, Indiana, just as a warm up, but I should be home most of the summer besides that week. And then I'm going to Chapel Hill. I haven't figured out the dates yet, but probably early August, one of the first or second weeks, and then I'll be there 2 to 3 weeks until we head up to New York, because I think Fiona and our coaches and everyone will head up together. So I think that's the plan as of now, but it's pretty tentative.
Yes. Wow. It's going to come fast. It's going to come fast. It's so exciting. And try to do, do you meditate?
I do not. I should, but I don't.
Whatever your way of meditation is. It could be hitting some balls. Maybe about just bring peace into your world. So make sure you take time for that, because with so much going on, a busy schedule and everything, it can be very stressful, and you want to savor every single part of that journey that you're gonna, embrace very soon. So that is fantastic, and we're so looking forward to hear from you again after you come back home and before you start college and all that craziness. Please make us as your home, as your another place that you can share with the world what are you doing and how you're doing it, and we really appreciate all the wisdom that you can bring and good example that you can bring to the youth. We work with kids with my husband and Bobby as well. And we treasure that to be able to tell our kids, Tennis for Children kids, you know what, you have to follow her, and she's doing great things, and she's working, and she worked hard. She started when she was 5 years old, 4 years old, and all that is very, very, how you say, baby, it's very motivational, and we love to do that.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it's been fun, talking about the little things that not a lot of people talk about and just the journey, because I feel like that's the most important part. So
it is. Thank you for saying this. It's the most important part, because when we get up here, okay, it's here, but that is just part of the long journey that we have been walking just before, long time before that big thing happens in our lives. So please make us your home, come back, let us know what all the other accomplishments are coming up, and looking forward, and we will be following you. All right.
thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. May the courts be with you, by the way. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye. A pleasure. Here we go. We thought you were in your office, Bobby. And then I realized you have your figurines.
Yeah, I'm in the bed. My office is my bedroom.
I see that. That's cool.
But I can't get on my computer today. I don't know what's going on. So we're on the phone.
There you go.
Here we go. Good work.
There we go. How long was it, baby?
What time is it?
I don't know. I was trying. I didn't want to.
2:29, so
Oh.
it took us maybe 10 minutes.